why you're here. I know why you're here. You know why I'm here. I am here to spill the tea, to dish out my brutally honest thoughts on La Beauté Louis Vuitton, unsponsored. Is this enough to save them from the recent year-over-year decline? And if you are new here, hi, my name is Sophia, and my channel is all about accessible luxury, beauty, fashion, and accessories. I want my subscribers to feel luxurious every single day on products that are truly worth it without spending thousands of dollars. But is this accessible luxury or just a greedy scam? Let's get into it. Real quick, I have one of the eyeshadow palettes, one satin lipstick, and one matte lipstick to review for you here today. The first part of the video is going to be the review. I'm gonna let you know what I think of the packaging, the formulas, give you my brutally honest thoughts on the quality of these products. And then the second part of the video is going to be my commentary. Who is this for? Is it worth it? Do I think this is going to save Louis Vuitton? What do I think of it? The whole shebang, guys. If you are new here, I review literally every luxury beauty brand that is out there, at least all of the major ones. So I'm gonna be giving you my perspective as somebody who tests a lot of high-end beauty, some of the most expensive. How does this compare up against anything else you can get at Sephora or Nordstrom? So let's get started. Starting off with the packaging and the online ordering experience, because yes, you can purchase these products in some of the Louis Vuitton boutiques, but not all of them. A lot of us, including myself, had to purchase these on the Louis Vuitton website. So when you order these from the website, these are going to come packaged like pretty much anything else that you would order from the Louis Vuitton site. A bag, a scarf, some shoes, small leather goods, it's going to come in Louis Vuitton packaging. I'll show you some close-ups of the whole experience here. It's going to come in a Louis Vuitton shopping bag with little tissue paper inside. And then all of the boxes of each of the products, they're all packaged with what looks to be recyclable materials. It also looks like it's made out of recycled paper. They are, you know, very eco-friendly, but I wouldn't say that they're super flimsy. And I also like the fact that everything is embossed in that monogram print. You got the little Louis Vuitton motifs all over the packaging. And I will say everything was extremely secure. Like every little detail of the packaging was very much thought through. The lipsticks were very much cushioned in their little boxes. You're purchasing directly from a luxury company. That unboxing experience should feel luxurious, even if it's only going to last one time. That's part of what you're paying for. Something that was really nice is that inside the bag were several little envelopes like this, and I was like, oh, what is this? Like, is this the receipt or something? Why do I have so many? Each of the little velvet pouches that come with the products are separately packaged in a little Louis Vuitton envelope. Again, am I gonna recycle this after this review? Yes, I am, but there is something really luxurious about having everything like perfectly packaged and presented to me. So I just wanna share these little details because this is what you can expect if you order anything from the Louis Vuitton site or if you purchase it in the boutique. The actual velvet pouches are very substantial. I mean, I can't imagine that they cost that much to make, but they are the thickest, the nicest, the most substantial velvet compact and lipstick pouches that I have ever seen in the luxury beauty world. And I also received, which was really nice, a little sample palette of the lipstick so you can try out more of the shades and the formulas. But now let's talk about the products, starting off with the eyeshadow palettes. I picked up the shade 150 Beige Memento. This is not a groundbreaking color story. Okay, I'm just gonna say it right there, but it is very basic and everyday, so this is the one that I picked up. I'll get to the shades and the formula in just a second. I wanna start off with the packaging. When I saw the price, when we all saw the price of this makeup, I think we all were very shocked, and I thought to myself, this better be the best, the weightiest, the most luxurious eyeshadow packaging that I have ever experienced in my life. And it is. It actually is. This is so nice, guys. It is not plastic. This is metal. The top of it is smooth. I don't even know what this is made of. Maybe the top is plastic, but it feels like a stone or something more substantial and luxurious. It feels like a paperweight. It feels like a treasure. It doesn't feel like it's makeup. I almost wonder if I were to like leave this out on a coffee table, if somebody would think that it's like something else, like home decor or something like that. Maybe that's just me. Whether you like the design or not, because obviously there's gonna be some people who just don't like the look of it, you cannot deny that this is like really, really luxurious. Yes, it's better than Victoria Beckham Beauty. It's better than Westman Atelier, for example. When you think about it, even Guerlain, even though they have some really beautiful packaging, it's still plastic at the end of the day. Chanel is charging $85 for their eyeshadow palettes, and it still comes in a really simple, very, what I would call cheap, not weighty, not very luxurious compact. They put the little Chanel logo on it, and that is what they are calling luxury. This is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about in my reviews when I'm saying I wish that luxury brands would come out with something fancier. Now, we'll talk about later who I think this is for and if I thought this was a good idea from a business perspective, but I'm just telling you up front, the packaging is legit. I really like it. I think it's absolutely gorgeous. On the inside, you have the little Louis Vuitton flower. It's golden, it's shiny. The mirror is very good quality, literally no complaints. These are also refillable. And when I first opened it up, I was like, how do I get this open? There's actually a little mechanism on the back, like a little switch. You switch it, and it pops open the little lifty part of the refillable compact. Some people were asking me, is it flimsy? Will it break? It's not flimsy, it's metal. I don't think it's going to break. I think it feels very substantial. Something that I do want to call out, which might be a pro to some, might be a con to some, is that the refills, I haven't purchased a refill, by the way, but just taking a look at how the little pans are laid out in here, you can actually like rearrange these. Each of the little pans are separate. If you were to purchase several palettes or several refills, you could make your own little custom palette, which I think is really cool if you wanted to like, you know, swap your shades in and out. Maybe you only buy one of the compacts, but then you just buy the refills and you get creative and make like your dream palette. Just saying, I'm sure there's some people who are going to do that. That is something that you can do. But if you buy a refill, you guys will have to comment down below if you purchase one, because I have not. How do these come? How do these come? I don't know if I would just buy a refill to use the shadows, because they're all gonna be like little singles. It's not gonna come as a single connected unit, if that makes sense. So I'm just telling you all these little details so you can make up your mind for yourself. This is gonna be a very detailed review, okay? I'm just letting you know right now, it's gonna be a very detailed review, but that is just something that I have noticed. And then lastly, in terms of the packaging, inside the very thick and substantial velvet pouch, you do have two little brushes. There's a little like, a little slot that you can put the brushes in so that they stay in place. One of the brushes has a pointy pencil shape, and the other brush has a little bit of like a flatter shader shape. They are quite small. It's kind of like the little ones that you get in the Hermes palettes. So very similar concept to that. I thought it was a nice little touch. Am I gonna use them all that much? Probably not. Probably not, but if you don't have any brushes, there you go. You get two little mini Louis Vuitton brushes. But enough of the packaging. Now let's talk about the formula, the product inside. Once again, I got the shade Beige Memento. I'll show you the swatches here. It's not groundbreaking, guys. I'm not gonna try and dupe this palette. You totally can dupe this palette. You can dupe all of the palettes. They are choosing very wearable, very standard color stories. They're really not like going with anything out of the ordinary. This is not gonna be like super artistic. It's not a makeup artist brand. It's just like a very standard line of shadows. And you can see from the swatches right there that this is very much kind of like a soft, smooth, very satiny type of formula. I will also mention that these are talc-free. They are made in France. I don't detect or see any fragrance in the ingredients, and they have a 6-month shelf life. Comment all you want down below, guys. I'm gonna be using this for longer than 6 months. It's the same with Dior shadows. I don't know why it's a 6-month shelf life. Don't come for me. I didn't make these shadows, but typically with powder products, I use them for a very long time. I don't have any issues. Totally up to you. I'm just letting you know the facts. I lifted up each of the little pans and I looked at how many grams you get. It adds up to 5 grams of product. And just for reference, a Dior palette gives you about 7 grams and a Chanel palette gives you 2 grams. So just Keep that in mind, okay? Chanel is selling $85 palettes in cheap plastic packaging for 2 grams. And with this, you're getting 5 grams, but you pay extra for the packaging. I'm not gonna tell you what's worth it for you, but I'm just letting you know how much you get. And now here's a little demo with each of the shades in Beige Memento. I started off with the soft tan color. This is definitely the softest color in the palette. It has kind of like a powdery, satiny type of finish. I would say that these shadows, they are very silky, they are powdery. They're not creamy like the Prada ones, the YSL ones, some of the new limited edition Dior ones that just came out. It's a very like silky, satiny type of formula, and this shade is definitely the most subdued. Then I went in with the gold shade. This one has a little bit more of like a metallic finish, but you will notice it's not like crazy metallic. These are not at all, in my opinion, like Pat McGrath eyeshadows. I think a lot of people are like, oh, is this just like Pat McGrath? I don't think so at all. If this was a Pat McGrath shade, this would be like molten gold all over the lid. Very, very creamy. This one has a little bit of creaminess and it is pigmented, but it's not like super richly saturated, if that makes sense. Then I went into the deepest shade in the palette. This is also a soft satin formula, not as metallic as the last one I used. And I just use this to build up a little bit more depth in the crease. Once again, they're pigmented, but they're still very soft. It's like a very easy to work with, very user-friendly, buildable, powdery formula. I also went in to use this as a liner. You definitely can, but I think you'll notice even more so here as I'm trying to use it as a liner that it's not like super duper richly pigmented. This is not a matte shade. You can create a line, but it's going to be a very soft line. I would imagine some of the other palettes that have like deeper, richer shades, those shades are gonna work better as a liner, but at least with this palette, it is a very, very soft look. Finally, I went into the beautiful pearly white shade. This is a great highlight. I put it on the inner corner, a little bit in the center of the eye. Works beautifully to just kind of highlight the look, but you could also use this as a one and done. And then this is the final look. Comment down below. Let me know what you think. I thought that the shadows were super easy to use. I am obviously wearing this palette on my eyes today, but I just didn't do the liner part. I added a little bit more definition in the crease. And yeah, it's not a groundbreaking look, but it's a really beautiful everyday look. I think that the shadows look incredibly smooth on the eyelids. They don't emphasize any texture. They're not dusty, as I like to say. They are soft. The ingredients, at least in my opinion, are nothing like out of the ordinary. You see a lot of the same talc-free ingredients that you see with other luxury beauty brands, except they have added a couple of ingredients to prevent the shadows from being dry, dusty, powdery, maybe kind of unflattering and highlighting texture. Those are the sativa seed oil. I see some vitamin E in there. I see the squalane. This formula reminds me a lot of Dior eyeshadows, like the good Dior shadows before they reformulated all of them. The finish of these and the experience of using them really reminds me of a good classic Dior eyeshadow palette, if you are familiar with that formula. I did do a wear test with this. I wore this during my very several long hour live stream last night, and I had no creasing. I had like the lights on my face and everything. Wore this for a good long time, went to bed pretty late, and I didn't have any issues with longevity. I felt like the colors stayed true. I think these have much better longevity than, let's say, Chanel shadows, which are like really, really soft and tend to fade over time. Still love my Chanel, but they don't have the best longevity. So I will agree with all of those claims. Now I am gonna move on to the lipsticks, but make sure you keep on watching until the end of the video because I am gonna be sharing my final thoughts on the eyeshadow palette, all the products, and once again, my commentary on what Louis Vuitton is doing with this whole release. As I mentioned earlier, I have one satin lipstick and one matte lipstick to review for you all. I did not pick up one of the balms. I just can't bring myself to spend $160 on a sheer balm, but hey, never say never, guys. So I picked up 2 lipsticks in each of the formulas. These are also refillable and they also come with the little velvet pouch in the little separate envelope and all of that. The refills are really pretty. They have the little Louis Vuitton flower on the bottom and they have engraved the name of the shade and all of the details about the lipstick into the refill. There are no stickers or anything on this packaging. Even on the bottom, it's all like etched in there, which is a really nice touch. They have the Louis Vuitton logo and the little like monogram fleurs all around the center. It's a sleek black lacquered packaging. You have the little flower on the top, and you can kind of peer down into there and see maybe what shade you have, but not really. But I still think it's a really beautiful, luxurious touch. You also have the satisfying magnetized little click there. Overall, I think it's beautiful. I think it's very elegant. It does scream Louis Vuitton to me. Am I as impressed with the lipstick packaging as the eyeshadow packaging? No, I'm not. And it's not because this isn't beautiful. It's not that this isn't like the best of the best. I just think that other brands are making really nice lipsticks like this. I'll show you two right here. There's a lot of good ones out there, but just for example, I love the Celine lipsticks. I think these are just as weighty. You have the, magnetic closure. It's a very different design. It's a different brand, different vibe, but I think that these are equally as luxurious. Also, the Guerlain lipstick cases, they are very weighty. You can buy all these, limited edition collaborations and different prints and stuff like that. So when I look at this from Louis Vuitton, yeah, it's nice, but I'm not like blown away for the price. These are also very expensive, but I think that the packaging is just as good. So while there really isn't anything for me to complain about as it comes to the packaging, it is in line with other things that I've seen in the luxury market. Now the formula, I'm gonna start off with the satin, which is what I'm wearing on my lips today. I picked up the shade Monogram Rouge, which I think is supposed to be like one of their standout shades. This is inspired by the Monogram canvas, so it's kind of like a red with some brown added to it. I also think it has a little bit of like a purpley undertone. It reminds me a lot of the red interior that they have on a lot of the Louis Vuitton bags. I think it is super duper beautiful, very saturated, very hydrating satin, easy to apply. I put this on right before I started to film, and you can see it has dried down a bit, but it's not drying. I feel like these stay very comfortable on the lips. I think they have decent longevity. Do I think they have as much longevity that the website claims for them to be? No, I don't really expect a satin lipstick to last for like 8 or 9 hours, but it did last through my like 3.5 hour live stream that I did last night, where I was just constantly talking for 3 hours. So I feel like that's pretty good. By the way, I do live stream every single Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Definitely come and hang out with us. We talk about all the new beauty releases, and it's super duper fun. It's a really, really nice formula with very high quality hydrating ingredients, and I can very much tell that, having tested a lot of satin lipsticks out on the market. I've tested and reviewed a lot of Pat McGrath makeup. I think I've tried almost every single product that she's ever released. These don't strike me as a Pat McGrath satin lipstick formula. I didn't really like her satin lipstick formula. These are a lot more pigmented, much more, I think, hydrating, just like a richer, I hate to say more luxurious formula because that's not a great way of describing anything. I don't think these feel like Pat McGrath lipsticks. I feel like these are in line with my other favorite luxury satin lipsticks, like the Celine, like the Clé de Peau, for example. Do I think that this is like so completely out of the ordinary? No, I think it's in line with the best of the best that is already out on the market. I think the colors are very beautiful, and I really like the one that I selected. I'm very happy with it. And now for the matte formula. This comes in the same packaging. It's the balms, by the way, that come in the matte packaging. I kind of wish that they did different packaging for all of them, but whatever. So I have 2 black components now, and I'm totally fine with that. The shade that I picked up in the matte formula is called Vuittonite, or Vuittonite, however you want to pronounce it. And this is described as a toasted almond, which if you watch my channel, this is totally a shade for me. It's also described on the website as a warm reddish nude, and I have to agree with that. Love this shade. It really does feel like a luxury formula in my opinion. It's very pigmented. It has a plush feel. I would say that this is not a velvet formula, but it's definitely a soft matte, or some would describe a luminous matte, because it has some pigments in there that kind of blur the look of the lips, which I do think helps with minimizing the appearance of like fine lines on the lips, of which You know, I have many, and when you put on a matte lipstick, I feel like I need a little bit more help in that department. I noticed when I took a look at the ingredients that it doesn't contain any common matte dry out ingredients like kaolin clay or talc. Instead, it achieves a soft matte look via film formers and wax structure, so not heavy powders. It's not gonna be super duper drying on the lips. It's definitely a hydrating matte formula. That being said, if you don't like matte lipsticks at all, you're probably still not gonna like this. It's not gonna like change your life or anything, but I do like the fact that it's very hydrating and it doesn't have that kind of gritty feel to it that some matte lipsticks have. I would say maybe it's kind of similar to the Prada ones, but I feel like those have a very weightless, cloud-like feel. This feels more substantial, more pigmented, more like it's gonna really create that true color all over the lips, whereas a lot of the newer ones that have come out on the market, like the Prada soft matte lipsticks, they create more of like that blurred effect. I don't feel like these are like that. I think you're gonna get like that true saturated color, but you still get a little bit of that soft focus effect. Very much a luxury formula, really good ingredients in there for hydrating the lips. Once again, these don't remind me of Pat McGrath matte lipsticks. In fact, I have an entire luxury matte lipstick ranking video, which I'll link down below if you want my thoughts on some other formulas. And sadly, as much as I love Pat McGrath makeup, I did rank her lipsticks at the bottom of that ranking when I test everything back to back. I do find her matte lipsticks to be a little bit too slippy, silicone-y, and also just a tiny bit gritty. I don't get that at all with these. These feel much more high-end, much more comfortable. And yeah, just like a good balance between saturated matte, but hydrating and comfortable. But is any of this worth it? Or is everything from this release just completely absurd? Well, my favorite, if you couldn't tell, is the eyeshadow palette. I actually really like this. It's extremely expensive. It's ridiculously expensive, yes, for an eyeshadow palette, but the refills are, I believe, $95, which is in line with what Chanel and Hermes are charging. It's just that you're really paying for the packaging. You're paying for the packaging. You're paying for a luxury object from Louis Vuitton, and you either are into that and you're willing to pay $250 or you are not. I kind of wish that other luxury brands would come out with things like this, not as the default, not as the only option, but as like an upgrade to what they already have. Like if you want to buy a Chanel or Dior palette, you can buy it, but you also can buy like a bougie limited edition case if that is something that you want to collect, and that could be a different, you know, extra revenue stream for them. So not super happy that this is the default, and we'll get into that in a second, but I do see what they're doing here. I will give it to them. They delivered a luxury experience, from the component to the packaging, the formula, all the little details. They really did an exceptional job. I personally would consider getting another one of the eyeshadow palettes. I'm not gonna collect them all. I'm not gonna go run out and buy one immediately. I'll probably take a look at them in store, wait for swatches and all that stuff. But I actually would consider buying another one of the eyeshadow palettes. Personally, I don't think I'm going to buy another one of the lipsticks because these just don't make me feel that much fancier than a Celine lipstick, than a Guerlain lipstick. I'm happy with the luxury lipsticks that I have. I'm happy with the ones that I bought. Like, I'm grateful for the ones that I got. Don't have anything necessarily bad to say about them other than the fact that I don't think that they are worth $160, given that the packaging is similar to other things that I can purchase on the luxury market. So it kind of comes down to, how much are you willing to pay to feel fancy? I can't tell you if this makes you feel fancy. I can't tell you if this is worth it to you. I think at the end of the day, luxury is a feeling. It's feeling luxurious. It's not necessarily about people knowing that you're wearing a Louis Vuitton eyeshadow. Nobody's gonna know that you're wearing a Louis Vuitton eyeshadow. This is for me. This is for me to enjoy this little luxury as a part of my routine. I don't need people to see that I'm using this. I think a lot of people think luxury is supposed to be like flashy. I think a lot of it is just how it makes you feel. And if you think it's silly, then you totally don't need to spend the money on it. but this does make me feel luxurious. This one doesn't really that much for the price. And so I think you can only decide for yourself if this is something that you'd be willing to spend your money on and if this is going to make you feel luxurious. It's a very personal thing. I don't think it's about showing off your lipstick to other people. Maybe it is for some, but it isn't for me. It's really just about doing something for yourself that makes you feel special and maybe more confident. And I know there's going to be a lot of comments on this video. Just want to say, let's all be respectful in the comments. You are not less than because you don't want to buy this, or if you can't afford it. You are not better than everybody else because you have one. Similarly, if you don't buy this, it doesn't make you any better than the person who did buy it. The person that did buy it isn't stupid or foolish or whatever. Let's all be respectful to each other. We can all buy whatever we want, whatever makes us feel luxurious. And I'm not judging anybody who wants to get 10 of these lipsticks or the person that's just like, nah, Sophia, that's not worth it to me. So it really is up to you. That's kind of what luxury is all about. It's more about how you feel when you use it. And that's a very personal thing. But it still begs the question, who is this release for in Louis Vuitton's eyes, or LVMH's eyes at least? Because usually with a beauty line, it's a product that is created for the masses. It's a product that is created for the aspirational customer. It's usually for more of like a mass market, but that doesn't seem to be the case with Louis Vuitton. Kind of surprised me, I'm not gonna lie, because when I think of Louis Vuitton, I do think of a brand that is a little bit more accessible to that aspirational customer, or at least it has been maybe like up until recently. I tend to think of like Louis Vuitton, YSL, Gucci, maybe even Burberry to some extent as those brands that for a lot of people, if they are going to buy their first luxury bag or luxury product, those are the brands that tend to be the most popular in that regard. So given the way that I think of Louis Vuitton, I would have thought of this release as being something that would be more accessible, more available in more retailers, sold at Sephora, which is also owned by LVMH, the parent company that owns Louis Vuitton. But it doesn't seem like Louis Vuitton wants to cater to this type of customer, not only with this release, but with a lot of the releases, a lot of the things that they've been doing over the past couple of years. If you're not into like bags and fashion and everything like I am, if you don't pay attention to this stuff, I'll just kind of catch you up. Louis Vuitton very slowly has been discontinuing a lot of their popular items, a lot of the like entry level, canvas items. When we think of Louis Vuitton, a lot of us think of luggage. We think of the canvas monogram bags. Those have become very popular, and Louis Vuitton very, very slowly has made those become harder to get. They've been discontinuing styles. They re-release the styles slightly differently, but like at a much higher price point. We've seen price increases across the board. And then their staff are mostly incentivized to push the leather goods. Louis Vuitton wants to be seen as more of an elite brand, like Chanel, like Hermes. They don't want those more accessible canvas items to be oversaturated in the market. They have released a lot of those styles in new leather versions that of course are more expensive because it's made with a more expensive material. Everything that they have done over the past couple of years has tied into this strategy. They want to be seen as a more elite brand. So when it comes to their beauty line, I'm not super surprised that they're taking this route. They want to sell to the Louis Vuitton customer. I don't think that they're creating this line for beauty lovers. I don't think that they're creating this line for the person that shops at Sephora. They want to be seen as an elite luxury brand, so they're going to create an elite luxury beauty line. They're not really thinking about beauty lovers. They're thinking about selling to Louis Vuitton customers. They don't want to meet that aspirational customer down here. They want to stay up here because once you're down here, it's really hard to come up from that. And that's what they want to do. I did see a lot of comments on social media saying, oh, this is for the uber wealthy. I do think the uber wealthy, like they will buy this. Like this is going to be just like a little cheeky add-on to whatever else they're buying at Louis Vuitton that week. Yes, wealthy people will buy this. Wealthy people will buy expensive things, but I don't think that this line was necessarily designed for ultra wealthy people because it's not rare enough. It's not exclusive enough. Things that are designed for ultra wealthy people, I probably don't even know what they are. They're not even being shown to little old me, okay? You usually can't add them to cart on the Louis Vuitton website, let's just say that. But in addition to the rich customers that of course are gonna be buying this just because they can, I do think Louis Vuitton expects to and has been selling this makeup to what I guess I would call like the new aspirational customer. I feel like aspirational customers, there was an opportunity to maybe like sell them a fragrance, sell them some makeup, and then they might convert into buying a bag. Maybe not all the time, but they might save up and buy a bag. But the prices are so high right now that the average person just can't afford anything from Louis Vuitton. I'll show you a couple examples of some of the entry-level items that they have on the Louis Vuitton website. A bag charm is like $800, $1,500 for a bag charm, people. Like a lot of these little things are like $1,000. A little scarf, like a little bandeau scarf, I believe is $240. So they're pricing this makeup in line with the other entry-level items that they have at Louis Vuitton. And yes, it feels ridiculous because compared to other brands, they're selling their stuff for like $60, $70 and this is $250. But I think the way they're thinking about it is like, no, you are somebody who likes Louis Vuitton. You want to buy into our world, into our club, and some people like that, and I'm not going to judge them if they like that. This is going to be like that entry-level item, and there's a lot of people that are like, oh, I could never justify that on an eyeshadow palette. But there are going to be people that want something from Louis Vuitton, and this is going to be one of the most accessible items that they have. And they made it so that the packaging is very much like you're buying an object, a luxury object from Louis Vuitton, and then you're filling it up with makeup. So I'm not saying that I like this, okay? I'm not saying I like it. That's just what I think they're doing and what I think their strategy is. They're really going after somebody who might be more likely to convert into buying a bag or something else. I think you have to really like Louis Vuitton to want to buy this makeup. But will this strategy work? Because Louis Vuitton sales, I should say LVMH's sales, they are down, especially due to a softening in like the leather goods, the leather and fashion goods category. And for a lot of companies, the beauty departments, at least as of late, have been kind of like uplifting and holding up the companies, making up for some of the revenue softness that they're seeing in the leather goods. So do I think this is going to work? Well, I do think people are going to buy this. Like, I see a lot of people saying like, who's gonna buy this? So ridiculous. Like, people are buying it. I'm telling you, there are people that want this. I also think that there is a younger generation out there who has money to spend, who wants to kind of, get into luxury, but there's just like not really that much that they can afford. Like I said, $1,000 bag charms, and that goes across all of the brands. Like, everything's gotten very expensive. This is kind of like the new normal for them. I'm a millennial. To me, it's like, I remember what I spent on my Speedy in my 20s, and now I look at the prices and I'm like, oh my God. But there is a younger generation here that I think will be buying it, and other people who just really like Louis Vuitton that will be purchasing it. And we do see these products selling out on the site. And even on my own channel with my own subscribers, I do see people, yes, buying less makeup, but investing in like higher quality or more luxurious packaging and experiences. I see people willing to invest in fragrance, in skincare, high-end foundations. Why not an eyeshadow palette with exceptional packaging? I do see people spending $250 at, the Nordstrom counter or the Macy's counter. I'm sure Louis Vuitton has done their research. People are spending a lot of money on skincare, fragrance, and cosmetics. But putting that all aside, Louis Vuitton is very late to this game. And when I think about the aspirational customer for Louis Vuitton, I don't know if they're really aspiring to buy makeup. People will buy it, but I don't think that is what they truly aspire to own. I think when people think of Louis Vuitton, they think of bags, they think of luggage. That's the heritage of the brand. That's what I think people actually want to buy. I don't think that this makeup line is going to save Louis Vuitton. I think that they'll make money off of it. I do think people will buy it. But what I think they really need to do is just improve the quality of their products so people feel like those main products that you are known for are actually worth it. They are so expensive, and there's been a lot of complaints about quality of the bags. Personally, I haven't had any issues, but people have complained about it, and I think that the aspirational customer, they don't think it's worth it anymore. So if you really want to improve sales, improve the quality of your products, because that is something that both the aspirational customer will notice and also the wealthy customer. And they really know what good quality is because they can afford whatever they want. I don't know what they plan on doing with this brand moving forward. I don't know if they're going to be selling it at more retailers, but what I would have loved to have seen is, or what I would like to see, is Louis Vuitton makeup being sold at Sephora and other retailers where a lot of us can enjoy it at a price point that is similar to like Chanel and Hermes Beauty, okay? Not super affordable, all right, but like in line with other brands with pretty standard packaging, but then have the option to upgrade, so to speak, and buy the super bougie, luxurious compact at the Louis Vuitton store. Make those feel like special, exclusive, something you can only get from the Louis Vuitton website or maybe specific boutiques. Maybe each city like has its own like custom compact that says like New York, Miami, Paris, whatever it may be. You can get them like engraved. You can buy maybe different collaboration editions or something. I think that would be fun, and maybe they still will do that, but I kind of like the idea of it being more of like an option, a way to like dress up your eyeshadow if that is something that you want. But obviously that's not how they want to be seen. That's not the strategy that they've taken. So what does this mean for other luxury beauty brands? That's actually, I think, even more interesting to me than these $250 eyeshadow palettes, because if it's not for you, it's not for you. You're like, meh, I don't care, move on with my life. But if you are a luxury beauty lover, you are left thinking, okay, is everybody gonna be selling $250 eyeshadow palettes? Because that would be not very fun, right? That wouldn't be very fun for us if everything was that expensive in the luxury beauty market. I don't think that brands are gonna do this overnight. I don't think that Chanel is just gonna get rid of their makeup line and make everything $250. I don't think that they're going to be doing that. I do already see, even before this, all of the brands increasing their prices every single year. I see these products being like $3 more, $5 more. I mean, Chanel just launched those limited edition, the Vuitton's palettes, and they were $85 each. It's like really expensive for what you're getting. You're not even getting like fancy packaging. I do think that these brands, they are going to continue to figure out how they can sell you more things, or they're going to come out with other more bougie options for the customer that wants to spend a little bit more money. Chanel launched those like really expensive lipsticks in the glass cases. People go to my local Chanel boutique, says my sales associate, and they buy them all the time. They don't even flinch at the price. Like, there are customers buying these products. I think that brands, they're gonna start to think like, how can we put out maybe more elite experiences? How can we charge more? They're gonna think, how can we charge more? We're already seeing brands do this, but I think we're probably gonna be seeing it even more. But I don't think they're necessarily gonna just like triple the price of everything that they have in their line. So what will become the new luxury in the beauty world? I know a lot of you were very disappointed about this release. Some of you are angry, some of you are insulted. I'm not surprised, I'm not insulted. I don't get insulted when luxury brands launch ridiculous luxury things. These brands are often very greedy. I don't let it bother me. I'm a very optimistic person. I know it's sad to see things getting so expensive, but I actually think that there's a really big opportunity here for new entrants in the market. Think about a lot of the brands that have launched over the past decade. You know, we have Victoria Beckham Beauty, Westman Atelier, Sarah Creole just launched at Sephora. I think there's a huge opportunity for new brands to come into the market and really deliver something special. And there are going to be more and more customers who are looking for something luxurious. They're willing to pay for it, that don't want to spend $160 on a lipstick. When I see that happen, I just see a new opportunity pop up in the market. And I do think some other brands are gonna come in and they're gonna fill that space. Think about what has happened in the handbag market. Mid-range luxury handbags are so hot right now. Everybody who maybe once aspired to own a Louis Vuitton or like a Gucci bag is now going for Coach, Strathbury, Pauline, all of these little artisanal brands that in many ways are a lot more interesting than what Louis Vuitton is putting out. And by the way, I have an entire playlist on mid-range luxury handbags. I review a lot of them here on my channel, so I'll link that playlist down below. But think about what has happened in that market. A bunch of new, amazing, good quality options at an even more affordable price popped up. So maybe I'm being super idealistic and optimistic in this regard, but I think that as those other brands, if they want to go on and be delulu about their prices, that's fine. Be delulu about it. I'll be right over here enjoying these other little luxury options that make me feel bougie, but keep me within my budget. And honestly, guys, that's what my channel is all about. I help you find those things. I tell you if they are worth it. Don't be sad if you can't afford this or if you don't care to pay for it. It's all good because there are so many good other high quality options out there for us to enjoy. Sorry, Louis Vuitton. So comment down below. Let me know what you think of this release. Do you think it is delulu? Are you interested in it? Did I change your mind? Either way, all I ask is let's try and be respectful of everybody. Let's try not to rant too much. I know a lot of us are. We think this is a crazy release, but I tried my best to be brutally honest with you guys and give you all the facts. So let me know what you think. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a big thumbs up and subscribe, or better yet, go watch another video. Up next, I am reviewing every single Hermes eyeshadow palette. I'll see you there.